Is Rasmus Hojlund starting to get to grips with the Premier League? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to centre around the Manchester United striker known as Rasmus Hojlund, who has had a very inconsistent and awkward start to his Manchester United career. Now, obviously, since making that mega money move from Atalanta to Manchester United this past summer, in the Champions League, Hojlund had been sublime. He had been phenomenal. He had been single-handedly keeping Manchester United going in that competition until, of course, they crashed out in the group stages. And he was the guy that was basically carrying them towards the potential of reaching the knockout stages, which eventually United fell short of. In terms of the Premier League, though, it's been a completely different story with, of course, him not managing to find the back of the net on a regular basis, missing some big chances, but ultimately not getting enough service, in my opinion, to warrant the kind of criticism and some of the criticism that he has come under since wearing that Manchester United shirt and making that big money move. Yesterday in Manchester United's game against Tottenham, he got the ball rolling with a very fierce strike that managed to beat Vicario in the Tottenham goal to put United ahead in a game that obviously United went on to draw 2-2 in. But are we finally starting to see Hojlund start to get to grips with the Premier League? I feel like I've backed Darwin Núñez a number of times. I feel like I've even backed Nicholas Jackson to an extent in some of these types of videos that I've done. So, even though I'm not a Manchester United fan, and even though I am a Liverpool fan, and I'm going to be looking at this from the perspective from the outside looking inwards, I still think it is only fair that I give my honest thoughts and opinions on a guy like Rasmus Hojlund, who I actually rate and I actually quite like the look of. Of course, these are just going to be the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings of this guy. I want to know what your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings are from you guys. Leave them down below in the comments section. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get into the video and let's talk about Rasmus Hojlund and Manchester United. We're going to touch on Manchester United and their game yesterday and talk a little bit about Tottenham as well. In this video. So, as far as what Hojlund goes, the guy, I believe, has missed about 9 big chances, or what the Premier League perceives to be as 9 big chances this season. Not the worst record to have. That goes to a certain Uruguayan striker at Liverpool named Darwin Núñez, who has missed the most so-called big chances in the Premier League this season, as you can naturally imagine. But second place and one below him is actually someone called Erling Haaland. Now, the difference between them two and Hojlund is that they play for bigger and better teams, with all due respect to Manchester United at this current stage in time. And what I mean by that is United's season has obviously dropped off a lot. And I don't think you can put a lot on what Hojlund has done this season all on him. I think he has to take certain criticism for missing some of those big chances, because let's face it, if this was any other striker, they certainly would be taking criticism. You look at a certain Nicholas Jackson at Chelsea as a prime example, another young striker making his debut in the Premier League this season. He's missed 12 big chances perceived by the Premier League. So he does have to take a fair bit of criticism for the things that he's missed. But what we can see is a player who is quick, a player who is rapid, a player who gets into the right positions. He's strong, he's big, he's powerful. And like I say, he's quite intelligent to get into those positions. And I think when you look at his overall play, and not just in terms of his goals, which of course he has more goals in the Champions League in 6 games than he does in about, I think, something like 16 appearances or something in the Premier League with only 2 goals. You can see that there is something with this guy. When you look at his overall play instead of just his goal record, you can see that his overall build-up play, his overall making runs unselfishly for opposition players, for his own teammates, or even making runs to be a thorn in the side of the opposition defence. it's intelligent, and it's only going to get more and more intelligent and more smarter the older he gets, the more experience he gets, and the more that he can obviously evolve and grow his game. He's going to get better. The only thing I do worry about with him is obviously the current side that is Manchester United, because, as I said, they're not giving him enough service in order to thrive off. Strikers are not going to score every chance they get. Proof of that, like I say, is Erling Haaland. He may be the top goal scorer this season, but as the Premier League stats have shown, he has missed 18 big chances this season. 18. So they're not going to score every big chance that they have this season, but with enough, you would imagine that he would have took them. I would say that some of the chances that I've seen Darwin Núñez miss this season, or Nicholas Jackson miss this season, or even Erling Haaland miss this season, Hojlund may have took. Alternatively, of course, some of those players may have also took the chances that Hojlund may have took. It's about service, and Manchester United right now are not providing them or him enough of that service. You can see it in the Champions League when he got that service. He was lethal. 5 goals in 6 games, like I say. Single-handedly keeping United in that competition for as long as what they were in that group stage. He was that guy. In the Premier League, it just hasn't quite worked out for him because there's not been enough service. And when there has been enough service, he's been caught cold, caught lacking, caught with maybe a lack of experience, maybe a lack of a clinical edge at times. But that's going to happen with a guy who is like, 20 years of age and is a little rough around the edges. I still back this guy to become really good. I still back this guy to be absolutely lethal in years to come. But things at Man United need to change, and they need to build this team around him. I noticed in a few of the previous games, you're starting to see Garnacho and him link up. There was obviously the very good piece of link-up play that he provided Marcus Rashford for yesterday with the goal. So there is elements and signs there that maybe it is starting to click, and there has been a few elements and things to come from previous games that I've seen to suggest that, again, he's starting to get used to the Premier League. He's starting to get used to this Man United team. And let's face it, it's not a good Manchester United team. Like, first half yesterday, they were okay. The second half, they completely dropped again. And that second half yesterday, they had one outlet, and that was just to knock the ball over the top and let Marcus Rashford run. That was all they had yesterday. So I do feel sorry for him in a way, because he does look like he has the makings and the potential of a real clinical striker that just isn't being played to his strengths, isn't being played to the best of his ability. So I do worry in that aspect for him. As a rival fan, obviously, I hope it doesn't work out for him. I really hope that he doesn't come good, or United don't come good in any way, shape or form. But like I said, as you know, I'll always try and be fair and honest and open with these types of videos when talking about rival teams, and that's all I'm going to be on this situation. Like I said, I do like the look of this guy, and for anybody that's saying he doesn't have anything to go on, or he doesn't have any potential, any ability, or even completely discredit his Champions League goal record this season, is kidding themselves. Especially if you discredit his Champions League goal record. You cannot discredit it. You cannot call the Champions League the best cup competition in world football. You cannot sit there and discredit the Champions League as just being, a cup competition or whatever the case may be, where, the elite play football there. That's one thing that every footballer wants to play. Every footballer wants to play in the Champions League because that's where the elite play. And disregard that goal record just because he's not quite cutting it in the Premier League. Because otherwise you're then discrediting the entirety of the Champions League. So there definitely is something with this guy. And like I say, for the past few games, I think his performances have improved. I think his all-round play has improved. And obviously, he's got a couple of goals to show for it. So I do think that there is more to come from this guy, of course. But I also think that this team certainly needs to improve. And the overall team needs to play to his strengths more. Play to his ability more. Garnacho is starting to develop this partnership. We saw yesterday when Rashford was not really thinking too much about it and was relying naturally on instinct and playing alongside him, it worked for a little bit. Rashford's form has drastically dropped, and I think if we were seeing the form of Rashford of last season with this Hojlund guy, I reckon they would be a bit more of a lethal partnership than what they're showing right now. They're showing signs they're getting better. Rashford is still hit and miss for the most part. It's very interesting to see where they go from here. But from my point of view, I firmly believe that Hojlund is certainly a quality striker in the making. Has got all the tools to make him a very dangerous and lethal finisher in today's game. But he just needs the team around him to improve. I don't think Rashford is necessarily that guy. I probably would have moved Rashford on a while ago, even when he was having that kind of purple patch where everything he touched basically turned to gold. I still reckon, like, we've seen that time and time again in past several years where he's been very, very good, and then he's dropped off again, and then he comes good again, and then he drops off again. That kind of thing. What I see from Garnacho is a guy who I'm still not completely sold on, but I see the talent there. I see the quality there. I'm just wondering if on a consistent enough basis we will see that for a longer duration of time than just maybe this part of the season. I think there's a lot more to come from the ownership, and it's going to be a very big and interesting question as to what happens with this whole takeover. Whether Erik ten Hag is going to be the guy to take them forward, whether a new manager is going to come in and instantly build this team around this guy, or whether a new manager is not going to take a shine to him and is going to look elsewhere. He's still young, he's still rough around the edges, he's still got time to develop, he's still got time to improve, he's still got time to evolve his game, of course he does. But it's all about what the uncertain future holds for Manchester United. Are they going to build a team around him? Are they going to seemingly change their ways and change, obviously, him as a striker, or change him personally, as in bring in a new striker? There's so much unanswered questions surrounding Man United. But yesterday, what we saw from Hojlund was a very good first half display, and then because United as a whole dropped off, his game sort of dwindled in the end. He was very, very good in that first half, but because United as an entirety, as a team, dwindled in that second half, that caused his game to dwindle as well. And because of that, we didn't get to see much of him in the second half, and a large part of United as a whole was just because, of course, they just couldn't handle Tottenham. They couldn't handle Tottenham playing half of their A team and the other half of their B team. They couldn't handle that, and it just shows you the class in coaching, the class in management, and the class in being well drilled and trained in comparison to the two teams. And obviously Ten Hag has been there for a year and a half now, and Ange has only been there for the best part of 6 months or so. So, yeah. It was a very interesting game yesterday. It was a very unique game, a game that dwindled in quality towards the end, but it was still a point that I think, on the balance of play, United may be a little bit fortunate and lucky to get, but I think when you consider how much they've spent, how much they class themselves as this still monumental, massive team, or whatever the case may be, you'd be feeling like United probably were disappointed that they couldn't take advantage of a Spurs side that obviously had half of their squad out. And full credit to Spurs for playing the way that they did. I thought they were very good. But yeah, you could really tell that United's main point of threat was Hojlund, and he had a very good game for the majority of the game that he played. But in the end, his game burned out slightly because of how United decided to adapt as the game progressed and not really play to his strengths as much. But he did take a very well taken goal, got a good assist for Marcus Rashford, and I thought overall he played very well. And I've seen that he's been playing very well for certain parts of the season, not necessarily in taking his chances, of course, but again, you can't discredit his current record or his record in the Champions League this season. You can't discredit the fact that there is very little service up to him in key moments and at key games. So I do feel sorry for him in that aspect, but I do see the overall positives and quality that this guy does present on the pitch. And I think we're only going to get an improved Rasmus Hojlund going forward, assuming that obviously Ineos and Manchester United obviously build to improve and they build round this guy to obviously get more creative influences, more creative outlets, and obviously play a much more attacking brand of football. I think that, and obviously decision making is also key for the players as well. I do think that this guy can become very, very good. But those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of Rasmus Hojlund so far this season? What do you make of his potential? What do you make of his talent, quality, ability? All of that good stuff, I'm sure will make for interesting, great reading down below in the comment section. I'm sure it will make for great, interesting reading, I'm sure. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new. Want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Take care. And I'll speak to you all again in a bit.